Make yourself useful and chop up some firewood. There's a few coins in it for you. Her name's Olda. If you've met her, then you probably already know what I'm talking about. I swear that woman is the most spiteful shrew in all of Skyrim. I think there's a chunk of ice where her heart ought to be. Hard to say. It's ancient. That much we know for sure. It was here long before the town itself. I just hope the bridge survives the war. It's the only place you can cross the Karth River for a long way in either direction. Could be if one side wants to keep the other from coming across, they might try to knock it down. Her name's Olda. If you've met her, then you probably already know what I'm talking about. I swear that woman is the most spiteful shrew in all of Skyrim. Damn right it has. Demand's never been so high. At least not since I built the new mill. Until next time. Make yourself useful and chop up some firewood. There's a few coins in it for you. Working hard gives a man reason for drinking hard. Well, that putting up with a wife and a mom.
Another quiet day, I hope.
Greybeards have summoned the Dragonborn to High Hrothgar. Such a thing has not happened for hundreds of years.
Tell me, traveler, do you have any regrets? Of course you do. We all do. They say regrets are the foundation of wisdom, for if we do not regret our mistakes, we are damned to repeat them. Our successes, meanwhile, need not to be remembered, for they only serve to bolster our temerity. That is why a general is haunted not by his victories in the battlefield, but those that slip from his grasp. Farewell.
I'm fairly certain you wandered into the wrong building, friend.
What do you need? There have been several witnesses' accounts of a raven-haired thief posing as a bard. As you know, most who reside here are light of hair and tall in stature, which already narrows down the list of possible culprits. And while there are bards in Skyrim from here to Riften, there is only one capable of playing that song. Dusk at that little harbor was its name, if I call it correctly. A beautiful but solemn tune about the sunset over the Gold Coast and the tragic death of a loved one. I do. It's been burned into the bone of my skull from sketches and wanted posters and images from another time. A raven-haired woman, 32 years of age, with an aquiline nose and eyes the color of steel. She is as fearsome as an orc, but can be as cunning as a diplomat, and if need be, can charm me with the grace of a sylph. What are you implying? One cannot evade the Penitus Oculatus and not earn a measure of respect, and one cannot defy them without earning their wrath. I am a soldier, sworn in the service of the Penitus Oculatus, sworn to uphold the law. If someone breaks the law, it matters not whether they are the Raven of Anvil or the Emperor's own kin. They are all criminal scum. Yes, I thought it was best to give her a name that was more memorable and identifiable. All reports are at times conflicting, but the most reliable agree on one point. The girl has hair as black as a raven, so dark that it seems to devour the light around it. And like the ominous bird, she is not to be trusted, and the very sight of her is a wicked portent for those who have worked hard for their wealth. None more so than the Countess of Anvil, who in her weakness opened the doors of the Great Hall to this Eater of Carrion. The Countess's cousin had passed away, and she was now on her 12th day of mourning. She refused to eat, refused to sleep. Soon her court was deprived of the same. As her mood grew more and more contemptuous, it seemed nothing would allay her grief. Many bards and poets came from all over Tamriel to celebrate the life of her cousin, in hopes of appeasing the Countess. Yet it seemed that even time itself had given up all hope, until the day a raven-haired minstrel walked into the castle and gently strummed her lute. Those who were in attendance insisted that it was the saddest song ever heard by mortal ears. They claimed the sky rained for 7 days and 7 nights, as both the Countess and the divines exhausted all the tears. That night, the entire court slept for the first time in weeks, and when they awoke, they found their cases and coffers emptied of their valuables. That is nothing but a baseless rumor, spread by those who think only of perversion. The Raven of Anvil was not raised to be a harlot. She has indeed. She's stolen my sanity, my youth, and nearly all of my will. Perhaps it is because I am nearing the infirmity of old age that I long for closure. Forgive me, but I no longer wish to speak of such things. Good day.
Just stoke the fire. Take a seat and get the cold out.
You there. Heed my request. It'll only take a moment of your time. For what I ask plain. If you're a bard, for your own sake, do not sing, for your voice cannot compare to mine. I was afraid as much. One cannot hide who he truly is. Nobles, thanes, jarls, these are the sorts of people I consider my peers. You're wrong. I wasn't always a handsome bard. I used to be a handsome adventurer, and before that I was just handsome. Unfortunately, my adventuring days came to an end after I nearly lost my life in a scuffle with a group of bandits known as the Silver Hand. After that, I figured it wasn't worth it. Sure, I was a damn good fighter, the best, but I was damn near good at everything else too. I owed it to this world to keep me alive. I can't even begin to imagine what sort of Daedric nightmare Skyrim would be if I didn't exist. It happened in an inn, not unlike this one, where I met this lovely tavern wench, a bit chubby, but on the voluptuous side of fat. I could have charmed and cajoled her, but I've always been the type to show rather than tell. So I showed her just exactly how her previous lovers had failed her. Unfortunately, my favorite thrusts were such that she accused me of turning into a beast during the height of my passion. Literally. To be specific, she said I was a werewolf. When rumors spread around of my transformation, I became a target of the Silver Hand. That wench made the coffin maker a lot of money that day, with all the men I was now forced to kill. I'm beginning to think the two were kin. If you want to be a great fighter, I only have one tip. Be me. Since that is impossible, instructing you would be a waste of both of our time. I don't mean it as an insult regarding your ability, just a matter of praise for mine. Some people take it the wrong way, however. Foremost among them was that Breton imp. He's an old acquaintance of mine. Joined up with the wolf hunters just so he could have a chance to kill me. As if I could be killed. In fact, the little carrot licker's been trying to kill me for more than a dozen years now, back when my balls had more fur than his chin. You'll have to ask him. I haven't the faintest idea. Probably fell in love with me or something, seeing as I have that effect on women and men. All I know is, wherever I go, he manages to show up. Some think it was a voice born to tell stories, or one meant to lead men into battle. Others contend my very throat was forged by dragonfire. I've heard some describe it like a bottle of hard whiskey and boiled potatoes, like smoke misting off hot coals. Most tell me it's a voice that carries with it a sense of authority, a voice fit for a king. I do nothing to dissuade such accusations. Now imagine this regal, manly voice of mine singing all the bard's favorites. My patrons from here to Riften will come to this inn to hear it. Yet despite me doubling her business, Vida insists on charging me for a room. Such greed is unbecoming. The humblest of births, but someday the most glorious of ends. That is, if someone like myself is even capable of dying. I'm not entirely sure. Yet I am indeed a far cry from the life my mother sought to raise me in when she was but a handmaiden working in Dragon's Reach. In my childhood I grew up around nobles, thanes, and highborn lords, sworn to the servant's oath to perform one's duty and to go unnoticed. Indeed, only I can think of nothing more dreadful than going unnoticed. You see, I've always longed for attention, yearned for it, craved it. And there is no purer attention, no higher appraisal of one's worth than the giving of applause. That's what I play for. The last pluck of a lute string and the faint echo of silence before the crowd roars in appreciation. I play for both the silence and the roar, the anticipation and the climax, the moments that seem to go on forever, and yet are never long enough. We fought with swords, bare knuckles, knives, bows, and scrolls. We fought in the snow, in caves, in taverns, and on horseback. We fought alone, with companions, on opposite sides of the war. The one place he doesn't like to fight is out in the sun. I think it's because he's a bloody vampire. Now that I'm a bard, he'll likely become a writer so he can document his lies in books while I immortalize the truth in song. I remember bits and pieces, a few stories here and there, but I can hardly keep a ledger. If you want the details, you will have to ask him. I can't be expected to recall events that are so unworthy of my memories. If you're that interested in my exploits, I'm sure I can drudge up a few details. Let's see. I believe it was a stormy night in Whiterun, and travelers from across the hold crammed themselves into the bannered mare. I remember being confronted by a child dressed from head to toe in steel. Only upon removing his helmet he revealed himself as the Breton. In the interest of sport, I offered to allow him to duel me on horseback, while I fought blindfolded. It was the only way to even the odds. We settled on mounted combat, which I accepted knowing that he had already bribed Skulvar into giving him the superior horse. The rain continued to pour that night, our horses trundling through the mud. It was his opinion that the vast tundra would make for a fine arena. I could barely see through the blades of water that whipped into our eyes as he positioned his steed 100 horse lengths from mine. We were to charge at the sound of his companion's horn, and when it blared, I flew. I flew through the storm like a mighty chariot, hassles of water flinging about in my wake. I felt the elements swirling around me, focusing their energy into my axe. I knew then the Breton would die that day. Only the little imp was nowhere to be found. I assumed he had fled. That would have been the sensible thing. When I found him lying in the mud, his horse having slipped and broken both their legs, he blamed me, of course, for sabotaging his horse. What does he think? I used some sort of mind control on the beast? I wouldn't put it past me, but it's not a power I possess. I am inclined to believe it was his companion that brought him a lame horse, in order to salvage the little imp's life. Indeed. Again, you're better off asking him. If we both stay at this inn long enough, you might be unlucky enough to meet him. How should I know? He told it to me once. Shouted it at me, really. But I couldn't be bothered to remember such an insignificant detail. You'll likely find him wherever it is filthy skeevers like to congregate. And my name will most assuredly be the first word out of his mouth. Some think it was a voice born to tell stories, or one meant to lead men into battle. Others contend my very throat was forged by dragonfire. I've heard some describe it like a bottle of hard whiskey and boiled potatoes, like smoke misting off hot coals. Most tell me it's a voice that carries with it a sense of authority, a voice fit for a king. I do nothing to dissuade such accusations. Now imagine this regal, manly voice of mine singing all the bard's favorites. My patrons from here to Riften will come to this inn to hear it. Yet despite me doubling her business, Vaida insists on charging me for a room. Such greed is unbecoming. Of course you would. Tell me, with what song shall I escort you to the heavens? Yes, it's natural for you to assume that I compose as well as I sing. And as a matter of fact, I do. But not for free.
Working hard gives a man reason for drinking hard. Well, that and putting up with a wife like mine. Honest gold for honest work. Uh-huh.
What do you need? The Countess's cousin had passed away, and she was now on her 12th day of mourning. She refused to eat and refused to sleep. Soon her court was deprived of the same. As her mood grew more and more contemptuous, it seemed nothing would allay her grief. Many bards and poets came from all over Tamriel to celebrate the life of her cousin, in hopes of appeasing the Countess. Yet it seemed that even time itself had given up all hope, until the day a raven-haired minstrel walked into the castle and gently strummed her lute. Until next time.
Fate is the name. I keep the inn. Nords don't care much for magic. The college in Winterhold is about the only place it's not looked down on. Otherwise, you could talk to the Jarl's pet wizard in solitude. Drink for the thirsty, food for the hungry. See ya.
You, tell me, do you think I'm attractive? Well, sure, so do I. That doesn't mean you aren't above having an opinion on the fairer sex. For instance, one of the mages in my guild, a female high elf, is very, very unattractive. Although I do admire her strength. Her neck must be so strong to hold up that boulder she calls a chin. Alduin is my arch enemy, my nemesis in love. Nelos is always talking to her, confiding in her, when he should be doing those things with me. It makes no sense why he prefers her company. Unlike that Somerset I saw, I'm a fellow Dunmer. Not to mention I'm cuter, funnier, and by far the more talented mage. And the worst part is they just met. How can he value the counsel of that drunk over his companion of 5 years? You don't know that. You haven't seen the way he looks at me, the way all males look at me. It's the kind of look that makes you nervous and excited, in control and yet completely powerless. I'd recognize it anywhere, especially on him. Arguably the greatest mage in all of Tamriel. But when it comes to who is most dashing, I will tolerate no argument. He is a Dunmer of average height, but immeasurable stature, his eyes burning with the fire of the Red Mountain itself. For all those who serve the guild, he is our leader, our mentor, our muse. He is the hand and we are the fingers, waiting for the long night when we clutch all of Nirn in our palm. We are a small group of mages, whose ideals do not always align with the 100 or so guilds that now roam Tamriel in place of the one. The Synod is too political. The College of Whispers is too short-sighted. The Sishiks are too close-minded. And let's face it, Winterhold is a wreck. The Radiant Dark is open to all who possess skill with magic, whether the light you cast shines brightly or darkly. Those who have power seek it, not for politics or justice, knowledge or peace, but for power itself. I used to prefer working alone myself, but then I met Nelos and realized I'd rather not be lonely. When the long night arrives, I will be at his side, and somewhere far, far behind us will be Gerard and Elduin, laying waste to those who defy us. Away with you!
course. I'm hoping to run my own inn someday. Fida's teaching me the innkeeper's trade. She runs the Four Shields. Please stop looking at me like that.
Need something? Hmm?
Need something?
My carriage is the safest way to travel. Solitude's been the capital of Skyrim as long as I can remember. Most of the High Kings of Skyrim were Jarls of Solitude first. Well, let's see, what else? The Bard's College is here, and the main office of the East Empire Company. If you need it, you can get a room for a fair price at the Rinking Skeever, just inside the main gate.
All right then.